After a year-long hiatus, the Austin Police Academy is back with the 114th cadet class. Now, I got to meet one of the cadets who tells me that joining the force is about something much bigger than himself. Josh Pedroza has a busy few months ahead. He's on his way to become an Austin police officer. It's a future that many years ago, back home in LA, he didn't necessarily see for himself.
I grew up with a single mom, 8 sisters, another brother. I'm the middle child.
He says for him, growing up wasn't easy. The wrong side of the tracks is what he called it during our conversations. But it was one fateful encounter with a police officer that changed his life.
I got kind of attacked by a gang member group. I had a police officer arrive to the scene, and he actually treated me very well. And I had a complete different opinion of police officers at that time.
It was in that moment of vulnerability after his attack that the ideas of structure and personal responsibility were instilled in him when a previously unknown LA officer said to him,
"My environment and my circumstances doesn't have to dictate my future." After that conversation, no father figure or any pretty much role model for that example, I kind of saw myself veering onto a different path.
Police relationships with the communities they serve are complicated, and even Josh says he's been on the more apprehensive side.
There would be times I'd be walking down the street and I would get pulled over by the cops, like a gang unit, and it created animosity. It created a certain type of resentment, but all it took was that one individual to show me that he cared.
After LA, Josh continued on his journey of structure and personal responsibility. He enlisted with the Marines, where his life would change yet again.
A good sergeant of mine, when we were in Afghanistan, he always talked about coming to Austin, told me about the good things about Austin. I learned a little bit more about that, so we made a deal that when we got away from Afghanistan, we were going to join. Unfortunately, he got killed in combat. But I started to learn more and more about the city. Heard from friends all over from Texas, this is the place to be.
But a deal is a deal, and Josh was determined to keep that promise to his Marine brother, to come to Austin and join the ranks of the police department. But then, protest shook the city. The academy was shuttered, and police leaders were forced to look within. APD was given an instruction to reimagine the academy for cadets to come, to make it more inclusive, and Interim Chief Joseph Chacon says he's delivered.
This is going to look more like a college classroom, very interactive. The cadets are going to have opportunities to ask questions more readily, and we just know that based on research, people learn better that way.
Josh says even in spite of the complicated last year, he is more determined than ever to pursue this dream, this promise.
Although it may be a tough situation at first, it's our responsibility to prove ourselves to the community and gain that trust once again.
It won't be easy. Nothing ever is. But for Josh, it's a personal responsibility to learn from and connect with the community he intends to serve.
It's a step in the right direction, and in the change that I see in the curriculum that we're getting under is something I think that is going to really change not only this department, but cause a ripple effect down on law enforcement as a whole.
Ask Josh, and he'll tell you, if one person can make a difference, then the 100 men and women in his cadet class can change an entire city.